hated the Ming Zhao boss fight. I would like to explain why. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines presents itself as an RPG game, and for the first half or two-thirds or so, that's a fair description. After a certain point, however, it stops being an RPG game and starts being a very obnoxious rail shooter. And, okay, rail shooters could conceivably be good. This is not good. But worse, this is not fun. Well, what is fun? Fun involves a sense of a challenge. I think most people who play video games would agree. How do you create an appropriate level of challenge? And this question is particularly significant in a role-playing game where you are given a wide number of stats to put points into, some of which are not combat-oriented at all. If you want to have a platformer or a pure first-person shooter, that's one thing. That's a skill game, basically. But if you want to have a role-playing game, then I think you owe it to the player to give them other means of solving the problems that are in front of them. Here's an example from the very beginning of the game. It's in the tutorial section. The tutorial section of the game is there to tell you the basics of the gameplay, to tell you what to expect. It is both a training guide and a promise to the player. This is the sort of game that you're in. Jack tells you to get into a safe and open a door. And there are two ways that you can do it. You can hack on the computer. There's a piece of paper right next to the computer telling you what the passcode is. The game is telling you. The game is promising you, hey, don't worry, there will be other means of solving the challenges that are given to you. It doesn't take long for the game to break that promise. I think the wake-up call for most players is the fight with Jezebel Locke. This is a straight-up boss fight. There is no other way around it. There is no way to talk her down or persuade her or sneak into her room from a different way and assassinate her in her sleep. It's just punchy punch. And certain classes, Tremere, I think, will have more of a problem with this than other classes. But Jezebel Locke isn't a terribly awful offender here. After all, she's fairly early in the game. She's not very high level. She doesn't have a metric shit ton of health. She's a challenge for new players who haven't been speccing into combat, but she's manageable. Ming Zhao is a whole different bitch. Let's set the stage here. This boss fight occurs in the final act of the game, past the point of no return. Your ability to travel around the world map is extremely limited. Your ability to make money is non-existent. The amount of money that you have in your pocket when Jack picks you up at the end of the werewolf fight is the most amount of money that you will have in your pocket for the rest of the game. Now, if you play through this a second time with the benefit of hindsight, you know this is not the final boss of the game, which means that you need to preserve either some weapons and blood and ammo for the final boss fight, or you need to preserve enough money to replenish your ammo and blood before the final boss fight, when you go into the Ming Zhao fight. And the Ming Zhao fight itself is at the very end of a tediously long dungeon. If you need to exit out of here and go back for supplies, you're looking at redoing half an hour at least worth of gameplay. Which might be a hardcore gamer thing, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. I have maybe an hour of downtime a day, so I don't really like having to waste half of it getting to a place, finding out that I don't have the right equipment to deal with it, and then getting to that place again. Ming Zhao herself has two unique features that make her an incredibly frustrating thing to fight. Number one, quite simply and straightforwardly, she has the highest health pool of any boss in the game. This makes it a long slog war of attrition where I hope you brought enough blood packs, and see my previous point about bringing enough blood packs. Secondly, She has a unique mechanic where if you damage her tentacles, and good luck knowing that her tentacles count as a separate part of her body than the rest of her, they fall off and form clones of her. Very high health pool, murderous attacks, comes with clones. I hope you begin to see the problem here. Now, it'd be alright if the game provided some way of increasing your damage pool, increasing the number of blood points that you have, or giving you even out-of-the-way weapons that would let you deal with this. The game doesn't do any of this. You can increase your bashing soak and your defense combat stat, which provides a percentage decrease on the amount of damage done to you, but you can't increase your total HP pool. Nor can you increase the number of blood points, the maximum number of blood points that you can have. Nor can you increase the total number of blood bags that you can carry. And as for weapons, the most powerful weapon in the game, the one that usually works against supernatural creatures, it does scratch damage to this bitch. So, there is no way to cheese this. There is no way to make it easier. You just have to stay alive and whittle down her absolutely enormous health pool. As I said, this is not fun, and therein lies the problem.